The East African region that stretches into the Horn of Africa is facing one of the toughest drought seasons that is affecting about 36.1 million people. Now, the impact of climate change and insecurity continues to affect communities in this region, with many losing their lives, livelihoods, or even life. Efforts of human rights organizations have enabled life to be a bit bearable in the affected communities. Governments have been urged to be more proactive in the fight against hunger. Leila Mohammed has more.
The latest arrivals at the Baidoa refugee camp in Somalia. In the latest few months, hundreds of thousands of families have been forced to move to such enclosures where they hope to receive food donations and clean water that have been getting more scarce to access by the day. Somalia continues to feel the effects of climate change within a large part of the Horn of Africa state, whose population of about 7.8 million people have not experienced rainfall in the last 4 seasons.
The situation is really dire. I never imagined that we will have people moving out of their homes due to lack of food, becoming internally displaced persons. And when you are an IDP because of drought, the impact itself, so on education, it's disrupted, and issues about access to health, access to the normal, things that we take for granted.
This drought has caused loss of lives and livelihoods in not only Somalia. It poses a threat to 24 million people in neighboring Ethiopia, as well as another 4.5 million here in Kenya. Humanitarian organization Action Against Hunger, which works with communities in the region affected by effects of climate change, notes that each country also faces unique challenges which compound the situation for the affected communities.
Somalia is now coupled with insecurity challenges. I remember one of the IDPs that was ran over by insurgents, and they chased away most of our staffs within the camp. The issue is about different groupings taking lead, or because they lack food themselves, so they time when the lorries are bringing in, the trucks are bringing in water or food, then they also want to grab them before they get to the beneficiaries.
In neighboring Ethiopia, lack of clean drinking water is contributing significantly to the death of hundreds of thousands of animals. In some regions, boreholes have been sunk, with experts going deeper into the earth in search of that commodity. However, they have come up empty, with oil residues only being accessed.
A hygiene and sanitation department that looked at all these mechanisms, and they realized doing water drilling is a long-term plan, or doing a water pan is a long-term plan, but it needs a methodical and meticulous way of doing it. It means you have to really plan together with the community, because sometimes you've seen places where communities say, this was not, we did not participate, yes.
Humanitarian organization Action Against Hunger has partnered with governments across the region to ensure that families affected receive cash transfers to enable them buy food for their families. Here in Kenya, that project has been presented with a unique challenge.
So when traders bring in food, they charge double the price. So those are the uniqueness about this location. So in Kenya, they may not be in IDP camps, but food accessibility is also a challenge.
Traders have been engaged to ensure that nutritional value of foods availed to communities receiving the cash is not affected.
We sat back and realized, sometimes how projects, you push on things to their throat and say, this has to be done, this is how we are going to do it, has been a different way of what we do. So for us, we do much more of community engagement.
In some regions, pastoralist communities have been taught agri-practice in which to supplement their diets and become food secure as they move away from animal product dependency. In countries like Somalia, Ethiopia, and the northern part of Kenya, malnutrition compounded by lack of water and disease like cholera is also a matter that humanitarian organizations continue to deal with the hope that the interventions from governments will bring the numbers of child deaths lower. Leila Mohammed, NTV.